Hi, I'm Steve Wolfman, professor of teaching at UBC Computer Science and director of our post-baccalaureate BCS program at UBC. That's a second degree for students that have a prior bachelor's degree in another area. Our BCS students are mature students. They're very focused on and committed to their degree. And one of the big strengths of the program that they sign up for and that we try to reinforce for them is that cohesive BCS community that they can take advantage of. So one way that we're trying to reinforce that community is by having a BCS Piazza Board. It's actually not run by me as director. It's run by two BCS students that we hire as BCS tutors. So one good example of what's valuable on that BCS Piazza Board for their community is when a BCSer just has a question, an advising question that I might be able to answer, but that might be really valuable to a lot of other students as well. And typically what'll happen is someone will post it, maybe anonymously. And one thing that maybe makes them feel good is since I'm not the instructor, I can't find out who that anonymous person was, even if they don't post anonymous to everyone. So recently someone posted to ask about how they replace an exemption. Doesn't really matter what that is in BCS. It basically becomes an elective and whether they can take it at any level or not. And like often happens with these, it was actually another BCSer who jumped in and answered right away. And what I was there for was just to give a thumbs up and endorse that response and just briefly say, yeah, this is totally correct. Check out that link that that student posted. That happens a lot and really helps with the advising load from my perspective, but also just with the students being able to get to know each other, to help each other and support themselves through the degree. Another good example of where the BCS Piazza Board builds community was something that one of our BCS tutors started. And that was what she called the README, which is, I don't know, a blog or a magazine or something like that, where she and her co-tutor would post little stories. The first stories were initially about here's a tool in computing that might be useful to you as computer science students, but it really branched out. So one post was about you're really struggling in a course, you're not sure you're going to do as well as you want to, and the exam is coming up. What should you do? What kind of strategies should you pursue, both in general and as specifically a mature student? That was really valuable to a ton of students. And we actually every once in a while have reposted that post or brought it back up to the top again so that students will see it again. Another one that was really amazing was the person who started the README posted about imposter syndrome in computer science, which I'm sure other disciplines struggle with as well. But in CS, a lot of us come into the discipline and feel like everybody else sort of knows what they're doing, but we don't know what we're doing and maybe we don't belong there. And that's especially common for women or racialized minorities in computer science, as far as the research seems to show. So this student and BCS tutor gave a very raw post where she talked about being that person who felt that imposter syndrome. And it was very powerful and I think helped a lot of students to see that experience was not unique to them. And it was actually really powerful to me as well, because this is a student who I was really excited about bringing into the program because she was such a strong candidate. And here, even she, who was an amazing fit for BCS, felt like she didn't belong. We can take particularly important posts and pin them for the long term. So a good example of that is last year we had a couple of BCS tutors who kind of went through every course that they would commonly get questions about, and they created a resource page for that post. And by pinning that as a Piazza post in the long term, first of all, it meant each set of BCS tutors could easily go back to that and edit it and update it with new materials. But it also meant that the students could also contribute and ask follow-up questions, and that could drive it becoming a better and better resource that's really valuable in the long term. So what's common in all of these is that Piazza is really helping create a long-term space for our students and actually our alumni as well to build knowledge, but also sort of a supportive community, a place where people can feel like they're getting in touch with other BCSers, especially right now when we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic and it's hard to get in touch in person.